We're with Mark Munro, the new Chief Executive Officer of Scottish Athletics. Congratulations on your appointment, Mark. And probably when you moved from the Scottish Football Association 5.5 years ago, you didn't envisage this quite happening quite so soon. But athletics is your first love, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, thank you very much, Peter. I'm delighted. I'm honoured to be privileged enough to hold the position now. Athletics has always been my first love. For those with a long memory, they'll remember me taking part in numerous events as a youngster, all the way through my teens into my early 20s, particularly in the east of Scotland, and fond memories of those times, particularly competing with the national vest on occasions as a junior.
And as head of development, clubs were key, and our relationships with clubs were important to you. How vital is it that that is maintained?
Yeah, for me, clubs have always been the heart of the sport, and they need to remain that. And I think the decision made several years ago to put clubs back at the heart and the focus of our investment and our time and our energy, along with obviously coaches and athletes and volunteers like officials, are all crucial. Without clubs, we don't have a sport. Without volunteers and coaches and officials, we don't have a sport. We need to support them at all levels, and we need to invest, and that's the priority going forward for sure.
And I recall Ian Beattie, our chairman, saying a couple of years ago that unity of purpose was important. Many different strands to the sport, but if people could pull together, that might help growth. Is that what the role of the governing body is, to lead and direct and try and facilitate?
Yeah, it certainly is to lead, but certainly to empower the sport as well. Ultimately, it's the people out there and the clubs out there that make the difference. All we can do is support that process and do our best to enable clubs to grow. We're seeing more numbers in the sport. Luckily, and I'm delighted to say, we're seeing more people competing in the sport now, and that's always been a challenge. We've seen the general participation growth, but for me, competition is crucial. So to see more numbers taking part in all the cross-country events and the track events and all the off-track events as well, and endurance is just great to see, and it's testament to the clubs and the coaches.
Well, I was coming to that. In fact, Mark, I've heard you say before, ultimately, athletics is about competition. So would that be one thing that you would urge people within clubs to try and get their athletes out, winter or summer, because that's where the improvement comes from?
Yeah, absolutely. Athletics is about competition. It's about taking part, but it's finding that right level of competitions. So whether you're an 8, 9-year-old coming into sport for the first time, or you're a seasoned competitor, it's finding the right level, the right challenges that will motivate and inspire people to remain in the sport and take part all the way through to senior level.